Dive into game two. Hey guys, welcome back to game number two. Fumoffu's Throws Fan Club facing off against LGD. G1 Day 2 group stage action coming your way. And game one, well, this is not really a big surprise, but it is gonna go the way of LGD, and I hear myself in the background. That, of course, is my co-caster. I'm LDD. I'm LDD. I'm LD, and joining me today is godz, of course, my partner in crime. Together, David and David. Here to sort of provide your legal work and also hopefully cast this game for you. Keeper of the Light ban. I think they saw that game the other day that LGD played against Tong Fu, and they do not want to deal with that Shao 8 Keeper of the Light.
Maybe hinting towards a more push or early game, at least pressure-oriented kind of game. Maybe they want to go offensive trialing and just don't want to see that hero on the map. They pick up TA, so, I mean, still, of course, can go for the push. So, interesting, though, that they banned it out. I mean, it is a hero that LGD like to use and have used on a couple different occasions. They're going to get the Batrider as well, and LGD not hesitating at all. Leshrac, Bounty Hunter, they know what they want. Leshrac, Invoker, they used both last game. In this game, we're going to see Bounty Hunter. I guess we're seeing it in the hands of DD.
Yeah,
tagged up at SC. He's their new offlane player. So, Yao, once again, going to be on Invoker. Not the best Invoker of his I've seen last game. I mean, he didn't play poorly, but it wasn't quite up to the normal standard I've seen in the past. He actually got solo killed by tduck's Batrider at one point even. So, we'll see what he can do this game.
And that came after a support counter gank from Tidehunter. So that was after he was already 1-0 in the lane with some help from his teammate. And he also needed the help to survive through that. So you're right. I mean, he struggled a bit against Batrider. The thing is, though, even though he died, he was farming well. And Invoker, a hero that offers a lot with that EMP Tornado build, even if he doesn't have a massive amount of items, just getting like phase boots and a bracer, magic wand, maybe working towards your 4-staff, maybe completing your drums. You're already going to offer a lot. I like this sort of adjustment to the draft that they've made, just picking heroes that can fight early and be aggressive. There's also not really a hard counter to this Templar Assassin because they pick up the Batrider. LGD apparently not too worried about it, not going to pick the Venomancer right now. They feel they can deal with this TA 1v1. And, I mean, they have heroes that are decent. Track especially is going to really help you to controller. Cold Snap and the EMP Tornado can blunt the aggression. But I like this draft from ftfc, or from Fumoffu's team, I should say. They're just a little bit more aggressive and early game oriented, and I feel that's what they need, because LGD is a team so solid and so stable in their late game decision making. It's very rare to see them throw away a lead, and it's very rare to see them past that 30-minute mark not having a lead.
I think, they want to be more aggressive early on, give Fumoffu a hero where he doesn't have to sit back and farm. I mean, we've seen him play the anti-mage before. It was Shadowfiend in that game. With Templar Assassin, he can have much more early game involvement. So that's where he wants to go with this. Probably another offlane Batrider. Last game it was tduck. Cuts has sort of moved over to that support at least the last game. During the qualifiers, he was on that side lane solo. We'll see which of those two is going to be playing the Batrider this time around. And KP's hero likely to come later on. The Tinker's still in the pool now, so it'll be interesting to see if LGD didn't have much fun versing the last game, they might ban it off, or if they're just quite happy to go up against Tinker. I mean, they're very experienced. They're not too worried, but I think that's not the kind of game SQL want to get into. They don't want to go into the Tinker. Like you say, give kphoenix a hero who can have more early game presence with. Something like a Queen of Pain would be absolutely perfect here, and he could easily control the game pretty well. He could play even a safe lane Queen of Pain with the Tidehunter support, maybe a jungler as well. Vodki does play the Chen, the Enchantress when they need it. So I feel this is where, if you're SQL, you mix things up.
I agree. I really like that idea. And you know, it's the difference between the Tinker and the Queen of Pain is it's a hero a little bit stronger at the lane control, and then more importantly, can have a much bigger impact in that sort of 5 to 15 minute mark window. That's where LGD generally create the space for Sylar to get his first big item up. The anti-mage banned out, so at least we're not going to see a Sylar anti-mage this game. His lone druid, his other signature carry from the international, is in the pool. Of course, there is the Morphling, but I'm sort of leaving him off the table because of all the nerfs to him. I haven't really seen anyone from any region pick that hero up since the nerfs. I mean, it's a hero that went from being the best carry in the game. I mean, maybe you could make a case for the anti-mage or the lone druid, but really Morphling was the premier carry to just off the face of the earth. So I would love to see something different from Sylar. I mean, maybe even a Juggernaut, a decent sort of pushing hero, does have some can kind of neuter to some extent a hero like Templar Assassin, removing the refraction, but they have a lot of ways to deal with the Blade Fury. And, well, it's LGD. They're going to play safe. They're going to play stable. They're going to get Sylar his lone druid. And he knows how to use this hero very well. Also a difficult hero for Templar Assassin to play against because of that entangle, as well as the additional damage sources.
I think this leads into LGD doing a dual lane with the Venomancer mid, just because Lone Druid at top lane doesn't really need a tri-lane. It's likely to be up against that Batrider. We'll see maybe Leshrac top with the Lone Druid. Leshrac can use those pulls, can get a bit of farm, get a bit of XP here and there. And then Venomancer at mid can just focus on keeping TA under-farmed and just somewhat under-leveled, at least put some pressure onto the TA. Maybe not stay around too long, because Invoker, of course, does need those levels almost more than the Templar Assassin does. So you kind of don't want to run a full dual lane at the mid lane, but it's going to be a Storm Spirit. That's kind of the perfect kphoenix hero. You want something more aggressive that can control the game faster on without items. Storm Spirit, you can get those kills. Or you can farm as well, but this looks like more likely going to be aggressive from the SQL side with the TA as well as the Storm Spirit. A lot of killing potential. I really like this pick.
I wonder how LGD are going to react to this. You know, and as far as the lanes go, LGD actually going to be on the Radiant side, so we expect that Venomancer probably going to be supporting the mid lane, maybe even help out a little bit top, we'll see, but not likely to be in that safe lane, or I say that, but maybe he will be. Anyway, we'll introduce the players. Yao going for the Quas Wex build, Blades of Attack already picked up, very standard from him, exactly what we saw last game. DD, the new offlane, or at least other solo player for LGD, he's going to take that top lane as the Bounty Hunter. These are sort of the lanes you expect, so LGD not playing any mind games here. DDC on the Leshrac, heading in along with Xiao8, who used to be the offlane player for this team at the International. Now he's playing support, and they're going to be supporting Sylar. We'll see if they actually stay here, but for the moment, 3 heroes grouped up bottom, and this is a tduck getting into the demon spot already. Position there.
Wow.
Oh.
Preparing himself.
Oh, that was that. Okay, for a second I thought LGD was pitting that, but that was actually fumoffu pitting him. So it gave me a bit of a heart attack, because if tduck gets picked off there, that's not the start you want. But they don't know he's there. I wonder how long it's going to take for them to figure it out. And you know, one thing to consider is Batrider's a great jungler in this version, so maybe they'll just assume he's in the jungle if they don't see him.
Absolutely, and elsewhere over on the SQL side, or the Fumoffu's throws fan clubs, we have got Fumoffu on the solo mid Templar Assassin. Vodki is going to be in the jungle, picking up a very early smoke with the Enigma. And then at the top lane, you have got kphoenix playing his Storm Spirit. He's going to be, well, at the moment, he's up there on his own. It looks like, I imagine the Tidehunter of Cucks will join him a bit later on. Tidehunter may be trying to do some warding near this bottom lane to help protect the Batrider a bit, maybe even block the pull, but tduck, like you say, needs to be careful. He needs to be careful he doesn't reveal himself, because he will get drawn to that creep bag. You have to be very careful cancelling those animations, as basically spamming the stop or hold position key. Almost one of those scenarios where you can actually turn off auto attack. It doesn't look like he's got that on though.
It's really annoying to spam it that much. Oh, an Invis run on Xiao8, as well as the Bounty Hunter being here. Fumoffu is going to give up a first blood off the bat. So unfortunate for him. You expect maybe one, but you don't expect the Venomancer there as well. And they didn't have any vision towards this top rune. Now, they knew a rune had spawned there, but that's the extent of their knowledge. It's a first blood. I guess the nice thing is he doesn't even really miss a creep because he's only level 1, but not a good start for him. And a good start for LGD, controlling those runes, using them well. But let's sort of dive back into the game. tduck going to get a decent amount of experience here, I assume, once this pull is completed. But although then again, LGD are doing the double pulls.
They found him. Oh, Veno's like right on top of him. I thought he was about to go in there. Oh, he tangoed it. Have they seen him? They've seen him.
They know he's there. Oh, they know. And oh, Xiao8, he's already set up 1 kill mid, and now he's going to get tduck bottom. No boots, so this Firefly is not going to help you at all, and that's going to be a Sylar kill. No, Xiao8 claims it, but that means early boots for him most likely. Meanwhile, top lane, no. They're using the bear to pull. This is something we saw from IG. They ran an offlane Darkseer, I believe it was. And then they were putting Ion Shell on the bear, and it was just stealing all the pulls. This was in the International, but sort of doing something similar. They probably even shared control for Sylar so that he's just giving it over to the Bounty Hunter. Just allow Bounty Hunter to use that to pull the wave, and he's getting experience, he's getting levels. The Batrider, despite the Demon spot, only level 1, and I'm not sure how much he's going to get up here. Or down here, rather.
At this point, having given up the kill, they know he's trying to do that. He's not going to really be able to go out in the lane. There's also a lane ward spotting him out, so if he ever tries to get greedy, get a bit of XP, LGD will know it. Venomancer and Leshrac, the best sort of aggressive support heroes there are for getting those kills, and that's something which he'll just constantly get punished for if he tries to leave his tower. So maybe he goes in the jungle, like you say. It is a capable jungling hero. Maybe he just takes that big camp on the far right, using some of those cliffs. He basically kites them around, but instead he's just staying at bottom lane, not really making much happen or get any XP. Maybe start stacking some ancients. He needs to do something. Seeing at this tower is not going to really help, and it's all he's going to be doing for a bit here.
Yeah, honestly, you know, maybe even just go into the jungle. Something interesting we saw from LGD, it wasn't using the bear to pull. it was actually using the bear to tank these jungle camps while SC farms them. Now it's very slow because the bear can't auto attack, but it's a decent tank. And let's see, it has been brought back to the bottom lane. Sylar did end up resummoning it, so no more pulling, but already SC or DD rather hitting level 3, so getting some levels up. Has not skilled that third point just yet. Or no, he has. He's taken stats. Just very concerned about his survivability. Sentry Ward dropped by Cucks. They might be able to set up a kill here if he reveals himself, and he will not do so just yet. They know he's there, but they really want to keep him in a good position to get this kill.
Yeah.
For the moment, not going in.
I'm thinking stats probably misclick. They are going to go on him now, and can they get the pull coming in from kphoenix? He's still in Sentry Ward range. He gets out of it, puts another Sentry Ward to get the vision here. They really want this kill. Is there another gush? Doesn't look like it. 2 Sentry Wards, no kill. He's got a salve. He's going to be perfectly fine. I imagine stats was a misclick, but either way, it does give him that the boost to his HP there, and he gets out of there. And that's a lot of invested gold and time coming from those supports. That's like an ideal scenario for Bounty Hunter. Sure, the Sentry Wards are there and you have to be careful now, but you know they're there, you survive, and you're healed up, you've got regen left to actually keep on laning against this Storm Spirit.
And in fact, it's just about 4 minutes, so if you want, you can just go check that top rune and help out your team. And also, the wards expire in 2 minutes, so he knows after 2 minutes they're going to have to spend more gold, and he can just check their inventories to see if they have sentries. If they don't,
bot lane.
He knows he's safe.
tduck gets entangled under the tower. Sylar with a solo kill on the backrider of tduck, and this is just going to cause tduck even more problems. He's just hit level 2, and Sylar is just sort of going to have an absolute free farm against him.
The movement wasn't that great from LGD last game. At least it wasn't that effective, but this game it's been incredible. Gale is actually, it is going to hit, just clipping fumoffu, and that will be enough to bring him down. Along with the Edict, a great way to deal with refraction. Every single time we've seen them go for these kills, middle lane and bottom lane, they've been picking them up. Now the Invoker's on a roll, the Lone Druid's on a roll, and Bounty Hunter hasn't been shut down. Every single one of these farmers is having a good time. And the Venomancer's got his boots, he's hitting level 3. DDC already 4 from all the pulling. This is just the pure efficiency of LGD. Sure, you can yell all day about how their picks aren't creative, we're not seeing pudges or anything like that, but they're making it work. As they go into DD top lane, finally they should be able to clean up this kill and not force to use the black hole. I thought for a moment they might have to, but there's a Sentry Ward here, and so they'll be absolutely fine. Getting that kill, gonna push a tower. At the same time, though, pushing this Bounty Hunter's lane early, if you don't keep the pressure up, if you don't keep heroes in the lane, he can just use it to farm and get a ton of experience that otherwise he might not get.
And they're going to struggle to even get this. Xiaoweight's come in with his Venomancer, just the level 1 Plague Wards, but this is just buying time, chipping away, and the TP back in. Bounty Hunter's there, he's ready. The Sentry Wards don't have a huge amount of time on them left, and he probably knows that, so he's going to be able to poke out in the lane a bit sooner on, and it's going to come down to kphoenix maybe getting some more Sentry Wards from his teammates, looking for another kill fairly soon. He's got his intel treads up and running, so kphoenix can look to get more aggressive. He wants to start getting some kills here as DD at this top lane. He's gone for a fast bottle, and he's just going to use that to help him stay in that top lane, and he actually walks down towards River, although it looks like SQL spot it. They know that he's heading towards that middle lane.
And just more examples of the efficiency of LGD. Xiaoweight scouting out the top rune, checking it right before it spawns, securing that first team, and it's one of the weaknesses of Invoker, not really good at controlling the runes and also doesn't benefit much from getting them, but LGD is sort of filling in the cracks of the weaknesses in their lineup in this way, and Bounty Hunter, level 5, no track yet, but they will spot out Enigma, and the Gale connects. He's got Black Hole in the Soul Ring, but he's too low to pop that Soul Ring now. Waited a bit too long. I don't even know if he had time there. In fact, probably didn't. But he dies, and despite having that fast level 7, it ends up going the other way and really working against them, because now Xiaowei gets a ton of experience, and Bounty Hunter hits 6, and the pressure straight onto mid. They're not going to give fumoffu much space. Who is having a good time this game? It's just kphoenix. And not even a great time at that.
Yeah, not even a great time, I agree. I mean, he's farming all right here, but it's just not going to be enough. Maybe he's going to start moving around the map more soon to just try to get some kills from his team. Sure, he can stay top lane, but it's really his teammates, the Templar Assassin, who maybe needs to catch up on farm at this point. fumoffu really struggling and falling behind. And he's just going to get ganked almost wherever he goes. The Veno Leshrac, the aggressive roaming supports have just been so productive for LGD, getting them this early game lead. And with the Bounty Hunter, the track gold's going to be coming in soon. He can get aggressive, and the track is just going to give LGD even more momentum if SQL aren't careful. SQL will get a top tier 1 tower out of this. It is a solo Bounty Hunter's lane, but like you mentioned, he's now going to be farming in a much safer position. So it's not necessarily a win, or a big win for SQL.
Fumoffu dodges a bit of a bullet. In comes Kux on that Tide, but this is not a farming Tide like we saw last game. It is a hard support who's very under-leveled and might just die for this. The Cold Snap was available to be invoked, but Yao decides not to. Probably would have needed 2 attacks. Meanwhile, on the bottom lane, the dive goes on to tduck, and that kill will be cleaned up by DDC. Sylar going for a very gradual build-up. He's not rushing the Radiance, which we often see from him. Instead, it looks like a Maelstrom build for him. Although Gloves of Haste are pretty cost-efficient on the Lone Druid in terms of just giving you a decent amount of attack speed, using up those inventory slots, which otherwise are empty, and then giving you more tangle chances. But if it's a Maelstrom, I don't mind this choice either. I mean, it's got a nice build-up, and he can just continue to be a presence in this lane.
Yeah, I think he just wants more early game presence. Also, the ability to just completely destroy Batrider in a 1v1 matchup. The phase boots on his bear can help somewhat counteract the stick napalm. He's even got the Orb of Venom on top of that, something that the Chinese players usually don't even get on their bear. It's something the European Lone Druids like to do. And yeah, Gloves of Haste, very cost-effective, quite likely going to be turned into a Maelstrom. And this is a smart build if you want to be aggressive and just dominate these lanes. Batrider really struggling at bottom lane, and this bottom tier 1 tower probably going to be soon to go down if SQL don't react to this bottom lane where Sylar is just having a great time farming. And it's not looking too good. LGD are just sort of finding kills all over the map, getting farm on all 3 of their core heroes as well as their supports with all these kills.
Oh, and middle lane, the Cold Snap into the Gale, and that's a guaranteed Cold Snap proc time and again. Fumoffu taking tons of damage, still surviving. Storm zips in. This is the counter gank. This is the presence from kphoenix they need. Black Hole on 2, catching them out. Meanwhile, Sylar gets a kill on the bottom lane, but the bigger action was made where that Black Hole finally gets dropped, clean up 2 kills. Unfortunately, they're not the ones with the bounty hunter. God, they would have loved some track gold there. And let's see, can they turn this into a tower? No Ravage. Again, Cuck still only level 4, and in comes the track. And the Shriek and Toss just driving Fumoffu up this lane. Not even going to get this tower easily. I mean, the top tower was hotly contested by the Venomancer Xiao Wait's play rotating there, and now the mid tower, just too much damage to actually go aggressive.
And Lone Druid's had enough of the bottom lane, having it pushed down the tower, pushed out the lane. I mean, sure, tduck's going to get some farm now, but he wants to come in, he wants to get more and more towers for his team, so he's just going to group up and start pushing now, and with no Tide Ravage up, Tide's still level 4, there's nothing SQL can do to defend. They haven't got a Black Hole. They've got absolutely no defensive heroes except for maybe a Tide Ravage. Batrider with a blink can maybe help defend because you can pick a hero off, but they've got no range AoE spam. They haven't got anything to stop this push, and this is going to be a really, really strong Deathball army coming their way. And this is just 10 minutes in the game.
Right, and they're not at full strength, but again, it's, you know, this team, they really picked heroes that kind of need a good Storm and TA, very momentum based, and so is Batrider. It's heroes that these are heroes that are dramatically less effective if they have a bad start, and it's only the Storm who had a good start, and even then it wasn't an overwhelmingly good one. You know, one other thing that's worth pointing out about LGD's lineup is this lineup really does go late because they can put Alacrity on the bear, and they have the track move speed to just help the team chase effectively, give everyone extra gold. Cox taking tons of damage from the MP Tornado. The bear dies under the tower. Cannot be resummoned, but now it can be. You can't resummon it while it's taking damage, so at least Sylar forced to forfeit the bear, give a little bit of experience and potentially gold. Not sure if the heroes lasted that one, but the siege, I mean, it's an 11-minute siege up to tier 3.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to stop as well.
This is very smart.
You've got Plague Wards, Edict, Lone Druid's Bear. A bit harder now because the Bear's on cooldown. He's only got the 1 bear and you can't resummon it like you say. He is going for the Maelstrom. He's picked up the Mithril Hammer. It looks like the recipe didn't come along as well. He hasn't actually got enough gold for the recipe yet. But even so, this is just a lot of damage and nothing SQL can really throw at this to defend with. I mean, Tide's there defending, but it's like, well, what's he going to do? Maybe he should just be going bottom lane to get that level 6. EMP going to get all these heroes. Mana down low. Fumoffu just doing his best to be in there defending. But I feel like half of these SQL heroes just don't want to even try to defend. They just want to be off in lanes, getting these much needed levels and farm. But they can't. They have to defend. They have to be here. And it's LGD just pulling further and further away. They do decide to back off now. Sylar goes to the top lane just to defend some of these towers here. And it's kphoenix who was farming that whole time, getting some items, gets up an Oblivion Staff, and he's trying to build towards an Orchid here. I mean, SQL just have to use this small opening. They have like half a second to breathe here just to get their head above the water. And they have to get that level 6 on Tide.
Oh yeah, the level 6 on Tide, and then something on the Enigma or the TA so they can just run in and fight. Probably the BKBs, and it is going to be a BKB for the Enigma, but fumoffu is just not near anything. Even a Blink Dagger is a luxury item for him at this point, which is... Against a Wex Invoker, normally TA does very well in that matchup 1v1, because Wex Invoker just doesn't have any damage, but with the early kills and the advantage Yao got from the roaming supports, he had a great time and really was able to shut down the TA. kphoenix, even if he gets the Orchid, it's not an item that does much against the Lone Druid. It's decent against the other heroes, but it's not necessarily a game where you can just break it wide open with this item. I feel it really does come down to the supporting cast to somehow create find openings to get those items and those levels that they so desperately need. Even the Bat Rider is just impoverished. 500 gold and no blink, only level 6.
No blink, and he doesn't even have his tranquil boots or something. It's just raw boots, stout shield. It's really the bare minimum. They will find a kill. They actually find a kill on Sylar at the top lane, grouping up there. They trade that for a tier 2 tower, but I mean, for SQL, that's about all they can get. They may as well take it. It's like you're at the soup kitchen. You take that free soup, even if it's not the kind of soup you wanted.
It's still
I don't like tomato soup. You eat your freaking tomato soup.
Tomato. There you go. Now I've heard it all. Zip in onto Yao in the middle lane, but the Force Staff already there. And a nice tornado catching kphoenix under the tower. Forced to use even more mana to zip away and survive through that. With items like Force Staff up for this team, they have so much defensive capability as well. I mean, we saw them sort of putting their offense to work and flexing their muscles mid a little bit, pushing that tower. But if you try to dive these guys with the Force Staff, the move speed from the Wex Invoker, plus Gale, EMP Tornado, and Cold Snap, and the tankiness of the Lone Druid, these are not heroes you really want to tower dive.
Yeah, it's just going to be so hard for SQL to use this aggressive line. They had to have a good start. It was really all about the laning and getting that good start, getting those early kills. They had to make sure Veno Leshrac didn't get this early momentum. They wanted to get kills on Bounty Hunter. They didn't really succeed in doing so. I think the Enigma was too passive of a jungle. They should have gone for a Chenna Enchantress, and they're paying the price for it. They went with these picks which had to be aggressive, like you say, diving towers, getting kills, and they can't do it with the Enigma jungle. That's more sort of a more farm and greedy style of play, which isn't really going to suit against a team like LGD, who can just really just exploit that weakness. And that's what we're seeing here. They're buying their time, LGD, taking towers down one by one, making sure that this time Sylar is not up there on his lonesome self. They're going to get another tower go their way, and we're just 15 minutes in, but these towers on the SQL side are really dropping and dropping fast.
They're trying to zone them away. They do have the Ravage out now, and the dust gets popped on Bounty Hunter. kphoenix zips in, wants to find a solo kill, but the Force Step back. Yao is here to save the day. Super Yao, Superman, able to pull him out of that, and now kphoenix on the back foot, first to run. This bear does have a Maelstrom, and Entangle for anyone except for the Storm is pretty much certain death. And Sylar not going to be able to get in range, but honestly, having the Maelstrom right now, there is a Ravage Black Hole combo, so they've got to be careful, but I think they can still put some pressure on this middle lane, drop your wards, throw Alacrity on the bear, a little bit of chip Edict damage, and just keep the Invoker back, so if anyone jumps in, you counter-initiate and kind of prevent them from really setting up kills.
Yeah, it's... SQL just really have to be on the back foot as well. That's what we're going to see SQL trying to do, just stay on the back foot and try to prevent some kills that are now coming their way. But yeah, I agree. The full staff, the defensive items for LGD, I mean, defensive as well as offensive can just really make it so hard. I mean, how's Templar, Assassin, and Stormspirit going to get heroes when you've got the ability to just use those full staff, use these items to get out of dodge? You've got the tankiness of Leshrac with just strength treads, braces, and earn all these HP items, and Venomancer is starting to build up a mech for his team. Once that mech's up, that's when they really can almost just walk right up, go high ground, go for the tier 3 towers, try to take a set of Raxes. They've now taken all the outer towers. They haven't made a go at Roshan yet. They haven't really been in a good position to do so, but they're going to make a go at this tier 3 tower, and this is kind of the second time they've tried to go uphill, and this time it looks like they may succeed.
They also have an Urn on the Leshrac, which is great if you get a couple kills and maybe need to heal up. Nice Gale from low ground to high ground by Shao8. Also going to just really prevent this Tidehunter from walking in. Wards were placed and then dewarded. Trap detonates. Actually a beautiful trap, catching 4 heroes, but the bigger problem is this bear tornado just barely going to miss Cucks. I think if that hits, maybe they jump in for that kill. Tracking on to fumoffu, which means if he ever had a chance to jump in, and he definitely doesn't now, nobody can jump in. You know, it's a team of heroes that want to jump in. The Bat Rider, the Storm, and the TA, but none of them can. It's jumping into this is just like plunging face first into a puddle of lava. You're You're only gonna get burnt. You're only gonna sort of scar your face and ruin yourself.
Yeah,
This is painful to watch for FTFC. There's just nothing they can do right now.
Yeah, they've de-watered the Observer Ward in their base. Storm can go in. They haven't got a direct stun. Lestrak stun can be dodged, and he can go in, do a bit of damage and fly out, but they're not going to kill anything off that, so it's just not really worth his mana or time. And it's a kind of a good set of heroes to pick Storm against because they haven't got that good lockdown for him, but the start just wasn't there. Here goes Tornado MP, perfectly landed onto the Batrider as well as the Enigma, and that's going to make it really hard to take this fight for SQL. Tide Ravage is there. This is it for SQL. They're going to take out one. They've taken out Invoker, actually, so maybe despite the Tornado MP, they'll make something happen. They're trying to chase more. Venomancer's ultimate just whittling away at them, and here comes Leshrac. It's DDC, the support player, just going balls to the walls, ramboing into the enemy base practically, and it's not going to be enough from SQL.
kphoenix gets entangled, but he's able to zip while this is going on, zipping forward, zapping backwards, trying his best to survive. Fumoffu was so aggressive to start that fight, really did a nice job of drawing their attention away from the Tidehunter, who was able to backstab for the Ravage. But even after a good start, it's feeling like it's still too much gold, still too much of a death ball, at least to win a fight convincingly, and they used the Ravage for that one. The Black Hole, they just never had the opening, and without the Blink Dagger, gonna be tough to find that. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 heroes that can cancel that Black Hole, and 3 of them very reliably at that, so it's frustrating, but it was a good fight for them. Although they don't really win it convincingly, they stopped the push for now, and that means, I think crucially, the Blink Dagger will be up for the Batrider. And the other thing is, if they can get this Orchid, that would help sort of negate the effectiveness of heroes like Leshrac and Invoker. The zip-in goes on the mid, slowing down Sylar, that's good as well, but can they? The lasso, they will catch him out. Some really out of position, and something you don't see often from Sylar. Usually his team is there to punish that, but getting a little cocky and paying for it.
Yeah, I think he was hoping for his team to group up and go for another push mid while the Tide Ravage is on cooldown, but LGD just weren't all there ready to back him up. Yao was pushing out the bottom lane. You've got DDC who's farming some neutrals, and SQL exploit that. A bit of laziness, sloppiness coming from LGD. This is really where they want to push and strike. You mentioned the Orchid is coming up on Storm Spirit. They want to push before that. The Tide Blink is coming. Sorry, not Tide Blink. The Tide Ravage is coming up. The Batrider Blink is now up. It wasn't going to have it if they just pushed mid with 5 there, and it's a kind of costly pick-off in some ways, and now they're going to find Storm Spirit. Oh no! He flies into it. He was fine, but he flew into the tornado, and kphoenix is going to go down. Unfortunate. Maybe just some crazy good prediction coming out from Yao on that Invoker, but
and remember, he just died and bought back, and now he's died again, so no buyback available for him. 3 minutes where he's dead, plus his delay in the Orchid. And they're going to at least get to the high ground, I think, by the time he respawns, more or less. And then once he's there, I mean, this Leshrac going to work on the tower with the Edict, the wards being dropped. And then we still haven't seen the Alacrity Bear. It's at this point in the game where Invoker can't really... If you invoke Alacrity, that means you don't have your Cold Snap, your EMP, or your Tornado, most likely. But even without it, they do so much damage. In fact, Sylar's hoping for an Entangle. He's hoping for a solo kill. He gets the Entangle. Kux might die to this. The slow from the Orb of Venom, not quite enough. The Tornado crashing through, catching out to Vodki in trouble. Vodki, Cold Snap, and the Bear damage. Blink in from tduck, trying to negate this aggression. Track just in the nick of time. DD secures a 3-hero track gold kill, and he probably pays for this with his life, but I think well worth it, getting that track gold. And of course, they're doing this without the supports, who now kphoenix looks to punish. He's finally alive. He's finally respawned. Kux has Ravage. Will he use it? The Deafening Blast is going to prevent him from getting it off, and it would have been a great Ravage anyway. And now DDC running, trying to do something, but actually goes down to Fumoffu. But the Edict damage still doing damage, even after Leshrac is dead. Chow Wei chasing onto Fumoffu, who Tornado will clip. And this might be his death too. Everyone's so low, but kphoenix again, in spite of a few unfortunate deaths, still there to sort of hold on to this push. And LGD are really pressing. Could have pushed while the Ravage was down and made something happen perhaps, and now it's back up. This is going to mean they have to be very careful. And in fact, Gale connects on 2. Will they really look to fight this? The Entangle on Fumoffu, but Chow Wei as well, dropping low. Sylar has not been dealt with, but they have a decent amount of lockdown here. The Batrider Lasso still cooling down. Entangle into Vodki. Sylar microing that hero, keeping the Bear in range so that the Spirit Bear can do damage while the hero is sort of trying to juke hither and thither, but just cannot survive and will finally be brought down. Overall, LGD really running into a bit of a brick wall, even though this brick wall is made out of Legos for me. I mean, they don't have many items, they don't have many abilities, but they're hanging on somehow, desperately by a thread.
Yeah, something is keeping it together, and I mean, a lot of it, I think LGD are just getting a bit too overconfident with some of their positioning. They are just looking to end the game as fast as possible in some ways, but just rushing it. They're not really properly in position, grouped up. Complete opposite to what we saw in the first 10 minutes, where their supports were always in the right position, moving around the map really well. Their solo heroes the same thing. When the supports left the lane, they'd back off, play it safe when needed. And the last couple of minutes, it's just sort of, I don't know, I'd say fallen apart, but gone a bit sloppier.
kphoenix, masterful play there. Silences and TP's out, preventing that shriek and toss, which also gives the damage as well as the mini stun. What a play by him. You know, even when he's just escaping, he does it in a kind of a flashy way. For me, I'm so glad we get to see sequential gaming play, just to get to watch kphoenix. Really impressive play from him. Whether they go on to win this game or not, it's the little things like that that separate a good pro from someone who's the potential to be one of the best.
Absolutely. I mean, it's amazing how a team who, I wouldn't say SQL a bad team, but I'd say they're a team who wouldn't be able to compete with some of these top teams like LGD. I mean, this game is a bit more one-sided, but the first game, they looked like they were in a decent position early on. fumoffu, Shadowfiend, KP on the Tinker, they looked like they had a decent chance of actually winning it with some right decision-making, and KP is sort of the reason why. And it's amazing sort of how well he does and how well he fits into this team. LGD, though, there's no one person they look to fall back on. It's really the team thing there. You've got Sylar on the carry, who's had a decent game. He's been picked off a few times, not in the best positions, but they're really the well-oiled machine. They've got every position. They've got a player who will execute and knows his role well, and that's what we're seeing this game around. As they're going to try keep on battering at this Lego wall that you talked about, and we'll see if there's enough bricks left in the toy basket.
We're gonna find out soon. Tornado and EMP to catch up the Tidehunter. Kux does have 10 wand charges. Will they get an entangle into him? No, Batrider now in the middle of the fray, pulling in the Bounty Hunter. Kux pops the wand, pops the rabbit, catches out a few. The BKB from Vodki onto Sylar and Show 8, but this hero bear is very tanky, and the true hero is, of course, that Spirit Bear, who now will get another kill. And in fact, the Storm too low to really fight. Cold Snap into the Gale, into the Bear, just mauling that Enigma to bits. Oh, just painful to watch, really. And kphoenix is going to have to take the long, sad journey back to... In fact, why even bother defending? Might as well get this gold while you can, because you're definitely losing that lane of Rax. In fact, you might lose more as the Alacrity and the Hyperstone really amp up this bear's damage.
There's nothing you can do to defend. All those heroes full HP, they've been healed up. You've got the mech on the Venomancer, you've got the heals going, and they just completely tear apart the base. He needs more teammates back alive. The Tide with no Ravage. He needs Templar Assassin, the Enigma, the Batrider. He needs at least 4 heroes there if they want to try stall this, take the fight to LGD. It's not happening at the moment. LGD get themselves 2 sets of Raxes. KP TP's home. They're going to try defend the next set if it's there, but no, I think Fumo thinks it's over. They're going to call GG. And LGD, I mean, this is kind of the expected result. Game 2, especially a bit more one-sided, but this is kind of more what I was thinking coming to this match. Game 1, though, SQL, they looked pretty impressive, at least compared to some of what they showed in the qualifiers, where they were very shaky. They not called fumoffu's Throws fan club for nothing.
I gotta say, fumoffu definitely played better in this series than he did in the EG1, even though they don't actually take a game. Overall, a little bit more solid, getting caught out here and there, but you really can't blame him too much for most of the situations where he got caught. I mean, the first game, you're Shadowfiend, it's very difficult never to get caught, aside from, unless you're Yamate or Yafets, and well, then you just get the kills left, right, and center, and never die. But I mean, I thought they played decently well this game. It just, like you said, it's LGD, a team that maybe is a little bit rusty coming into this match, but finding their stride and kicking things into the next gear, just sort of saying, okay, we didn't really play up to our potential in game 1. Let's close it out. Let's play like a top tier, a top flight, a premier team in this game 2, and it's exactly what they did.
And SQL, I mean, they're not out of this. They've still got, I'd say there's 2 teams in this group which they can legitimately beat or at least take a game off in EG and MUFC. So we'll have to see how they do in their future matches. I mean, this is kind of the real testing ground for them where they can improve and grow as a team. The G1 League, I mean, this is not a tournament they're supposed to come into and suddenly be able to take a game off LGD or IG. They are the underdogs. They are the team who's meant to sort of lose most of their games. But it's a great experience for them to actually get to compete here and move on as a team, figure out how to improve, and we're seeing it. I feel even since the qualifiers, they're playing a lot better. Sure, they got destroyed in this game too to some extent, but as a team, they can take from this, learn from this, and look to do better in their other group stage matches. They still have a shot at making it to the playoffs. This is, as you mentioned earlier, this is just one of the first few chapters of this G1 story, and there's still plenty of more matches and time to come.
Right, and if nothing else, you get to play the spoiler when you're a team like this, and maybe a team that expects to be able to just sort of comfortably walk in as a 1 or 2 seed ends up as a 3 or 4, which does affect how the playoffs will shake out and how many games you have to win, how many games you can afford to lose to get a top slot going into the LAN finals. So even then, there's something at stake, to sort of have an impact on the way the games shake out. Again, this is one of the hardest teams in the tournament, and certainly in their group, IG being the other big one. That's a match that I'm very excited for tomorrow, but we'll talk about that in a second, I suppose. MUFC, one of the other teams of this group, I feel a team maybe ftfc, if they play a really amazing game, could take a game off of them. Especially with MUFC not having their same roster, having some changes to the players in the lineup, and that's something that they can look forward to as well. But it is going to be LGD who take a clean 2-0 sweep. A little bit messy at game 1, but it ends on a very clean, almost surgical note, despite a few feeds here and there and over-aggressive play, just showing that they're a step and a class above the FTFC, the Fumoffu Throws fan club. At least for now. We'll have to see, though. We've seen teams start off like this and then slowly but surely gain confidence, gain poise. If they practice hard, someday they may be the ones knocking LGD off, but today is not that day. It's LGD taking this series 2-0. And on that note, guys, I think it's a good time to mention that we are done for today. No more games for today for the G1 League. This was day 2 of the group stages, but we will have more matches coming your way tomorrow. Tomorrow, let's actually take a quick look and see who's playing. It's going to be IG versus LGD, and that might be the best match of the entire group stages. Let me say that again. IG versus LGD, yes! It's going to be an amazing match. Very excited to see this. And that one will be at 3:30 p.m. SGT or 15:30 if you're using military time. Followed up by DK versus Tongfu. So it's an all-Chinese affair, which, hey, it's appropriate for a Chinese organizer to have at least one day with all Chinese Dota. But that first match, IG versus LGD.
Oh my gosh, that's going to be absolutely... I'm hyped. I'm excited. After seeing IG play, I think... And seeing LGD today, LGD are going to have to step it up. Game number 2, they showed they have the early game aggression and movement around the map that they need. And game number 1, they showed they had the late game decision making. They can just sort of make sure that they take down and capitalize on mistakes. They need to kind of combine the early game from game 2 with that late game decisions from game 1, and then they can flip a fight. But if that doesn't happen, I think IG take it.
IG have to be the favorites for me. I mean, less because of the previous history between these teams and more just how well we saw IG play on their first day. And they just looked absolutely dominant. Like, they hadn't even lost a set. LGD looked... I mean, they didn't look like a significantly worse team, but just not as polished as we saw them going into the international. So, yeah, I think IG have to be the favorites, but only by a little bit. I mean, LGD have the skill, they have the depth and sort of overall versatility to match up with a team like IG. It's just a question of actually executing in those games. It's not a question of potential, but rather of realizing that potential in the series. That's our first match tomorrow. The second match is DK versus Tongfu, and again, it's going to be the same schedule the rest of the way through the group stages at 8 p.m. SGT or 20 SGT, again, for military time. That's going to be DK versus Tongfu, and the new DK, I feel that's a match they should take. They looked pretty solid in game number 2 versus Orange, but you never know. I mean, Tongfu is a team that has taken some games off of the top Chinese teams here and there.
Yeah, I think they're a team who, if they draft and it clicks on the day, they could take some games here. And DK didn't look as convincing as they did with their old roster in some ways. I think they need to work on their drafting, and I think Burning even said in a little comment apparently that after the first game it was just a drafting mistake. I mean, they weren't ready for what Orange threw at them. They didn't prepare properly for the match strategically, and it cost them. So if they do that against Tongfu, they've got the N9 games to look at to see what Tongfu did. I think DK should have the slight edge there, but Tongfu definitely capable of taking a game, maybe even 2.
That's good. That's tomorrow's action, guys. So the big one, of course, 15:30 SGT, 3:30 p.m. For those of you in Asia. You're not going to want to miss it. IG versus LGD, but that does wrap it up for today's action. Let's actually see. I know Bruno said he was interested in coming on today. I'm not sure if he's actually able to be here. You know, the other thing we could do, gods, is, well, do we want to have Fumoffu come on for a little bit of an interview? Or maybe one of the N9 guys?
I don't think N9 guys have all gone to sleep, unfortunately, because
Okay.
it's like 2 a.m. or something in Australia. If Fumoffu comes on, he may cop some big flames, but I'm okay with that.
Well, let's. Why don't you check with him, see if he's up to it, if he wants to, and you know, sort of get to showcase his personality for the viewers. In the meantime, I'm gonna run to the bathroom, but yeah, we might have a Fumoffu interview coming up. If not, I think we'll have Bruno on, and just to say hi and maybe update everyone on fantasy. I gotta say, I'm already feeling great about fantasy today. With that godz pickup, my goodness, 11-5 in 17 Crystal Maiden. Like I'm golden for this fantasy league. But yeah, guys, stay tuned. We'll probably have something coming up for you in a few minutes.